friend and bring him in. We're going to roll for you. And we're coming up now in 5, 4, 3, 2. All right. Tag a friend and bring him in. That's what Sister Felicia Hampton always says. Tag a friend and bring him in. You're listening to the Freeman Bosley Jr. Show on KATZ 1600. Hallelujah, 1600 a.m. Good morning, St. Louis. I'm here with my trusty sidekick, Mr. Danny Brown, also law partner, and he's sitting in for Mr. Shaheed. Anthony Shaheed is on assignment. Sister Felicia Hampton is on assignment. Everybody's on a damn assignment this week. So I would imagine that they'll have all kinds of good things to share with us upon their return. So we have a good show today, though. I guess the most important thing, not the most important, but one of the very important things is Bill Cosby. Huh? What? Yeah. Bill Cosby. Freed from prison today, y'all. Bill Cosby. Bill Cosby.
We got a big treat on this one.
Bill Cosby.
Attorney Will Daly's going to be calling in to talk with us.
Okay. All right. So we're going to wait for 30 minutes. Well, just to tee it up for you, Bill Cosby was freed today. Yes, he was. He was freed. Yeah. This man served almost 3 years in prison because he stood on what he felt was right. We'll talk about it a little bit more when Attorney Daly calls. But the other thing here, now this is a more serious matter, extremely serious matter. The pandemic, friends, and I know you don't want to hear it. I know you don't want to hear it. It's always painful for you to hear the truth. But this is the truth. And it's the whole truth. And it's nothing but the truth. And that basically is that the Delta coronavirus is closing in on you. If you don't have your vaccination, it's closing in on you. Now, I know some of you out there are subscribing to the conspiracy theory. Several of you are in my family. And we had a big talk about it the other day, but the conversations continue. But while the conversations are continuing, the virus, friends, is continuing to grow. And it's getting stronger. It's getting stronger. The Corona-19 virus, there is a deviation of it called the Delta. It's a Delta variant. A Delta variant that is more powerful and more stronger than the Corona-19. And I know some of you know people that you lost to the Corona-19. This will take you out much, much faster.
And what's even more alarming, Freeman, this morning I was watching CNN, and as they were talking about this Delta variant, guess who they used as the example of where it's out of control?
Missouri.
They talked about India. They talked about
They compared
Australia.
us to India?
Well, internationally, they talked about India and Australia. Locally, the first thing they said was Missouri.
All right. And it's coming to a theater near you. Yes, it is. It's coming to a theater near you. As the outbreak continues in the Southwest, states first, Missouri continues to place first, not second, not third. Now, normally, when it comes to major issues like crime, healthcare, we're always down at the bottom. But we're leading the charge on this one, friends. We're leading the charge. The number of new coronavirus cases per capita, we're the leader. We got something to be proud about on this one, huh? I bet. Yeah.
I'll say this. I wasn't a bit hesitant at first to get that shot. But my parents have been very, very, very conservative throughout the entire COVID.
Yeah.
To the point where they said I couldn't come to the house.
They wouldn't let you in.
I could come drop off groceries up at the front door.
Yeah.
shot yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so then it came down to my dad finally said, listen, son, you get up this one.
You got the shot.
And I did that, one, to protect myself, but two, to protect my family.
That's right.
And
That's
my
it.
parents did this, who knows, of that boy. And I couldn't have that on my conscience. I
And-
want to be able to see him and hug him and hold
That's
him
right.
and do it safely.
And that's the bigger issue. You see now, you're very selfish if you don't get the shot. And you're being selfish because you think that all this involves is just you. But you got husbands, wives, sisters, brothers, kids, nieces, nephews. Some depend on you. Most of them just love you. And they want you to be around. Think how devastating it would be to them after they've said to you, did you get your shot? Did you get your shot? Did you get your shot? And you say no, and then here we go, 2-3 weeks later, you got the virus. And God forbid something happened to you. But just catching it is a trip. Ask James Clark. I mean, he's one of the healthiest specimens I know. It put him down. It put him down. And he'll tell anybody that'll listen that it put him down.
He said walking from the bathroom
That's
to the
right.
bed like he ran a mile.
That's right. That's it. Now, you think you can withstand that? I don't think so. Look at the firefighter that we just buried. Just buried. Perfect specimen of a man. He didn't believe in getting the coronavirus shot. And the shot got it. He didn't get it.
But interestingly, they're putting some incentives out here now to make you more interested in getting the shot. They were doing shots over in at the baseball stadium. You get a shot and get a free ticket.
If
St.
that's
Louis
what it
County
takes.
just announced if you get a shot, they're giving out gift cards up to $200.
If that's what it takes.
So they are almost begging folks, bribing folks to go get the shot.
If that's what it takes, it seems like it's whatever it takes. Whatever it takes. And here's the other piece. For those of you that don't believe. 600,000 people are dead in the United States. Not from heart attack, not from automobile accidents, not from smoking, not from sugar diabetes, but from the virus. Do yourself a favor. Do yourself a favor. If you're scared, get somebody to go with you. That people would love to go with you, matter of fact. They probably jump at the chance to go with you. Just go on and get it. Doesn't take long at all. You get you an appointment, you arrive for the appointment, you get the shot, you wait 15 minutes in the recovery room, and you're gone. The whole thing, you're out of there in 30 minutes.
Yeah, a lot of the CVS right now, you can just walk in.
Okay. They're taking
Let you
walk
walk in.
walking. But please, friends, we love you. We don't want to see anything happen to you. Even though I like arguing with you and all of that, get the shot. Get the shot. I'm telling you, you feel better. You definitely will feel better. So it looks like we're coming up on a break. You're listening to the Freeman Bosley Jr. Show on KATZ 1600. Hallelujah AM. Keep it on lock.
And quit playing.
Quit playing.
There it is.
Now we're still on the Facebook piece.
Okay.
So I'm talking to the people on Facebook now. How do you like our new setup here? Huh?
Freeman, it looks like we're almost on Good Morning
That's right.
America.
How do you like our new setup here? Huh? We're fine-tuning, growing, showing, and we're doing it for you because we want to give a good show. We want you to enjoy the show. We want you to participate. And the next step is for us to get the telephone back so that you can have some interaction with us. That's the give a speech.
There you go. On all the reasons they don't.
That's right. Yeah, yeah. And they're black.
But let their child open a business, and somebody say, I'm not going to go to that child's business because it's owned by a black person.
That's right.
They want everybody to come to the child's business.
That's right. You give a person a chance.
There you go.
Give people a chance. And if you go to a business and it's not what it all cracked up to be, try somebody else.
Or give a little constructive criticism.
Okay, right. Some constructive criticism.
Pull to the side and say, look here.
This is what I wanted. This is what I came to you for.
Yeah, I appreciate what you did, but maybe if you just change this piece just a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But we're so quick to complain.
Pick up our marbles and go home.
We have a client of ours, Prime 55 Restaurant, owned by Orlando Watson and Tony Davis.
Okay.
They just announced they're opening up a second location downtown.
Oh, man, that's beautiful.
During COVID, imagine that. So
that's fantastic.
Other restaurants closed during COVID. They're opening a second location.
Okay. All right.
Orlando
well, we need to have them on.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
He was telling the story on how they have all this fine dining, and people are very happy. But they seems like they can't wait to get on and say something bad. If there's just something a little bit wrong with the menu. Just a little bit wrong. There you go. So let's be as excited when we do well as when we have little slip-ups. Well, celebrate the victories.
Well, a lady gave me a card a long, long time ago when I was about 28 years old. It says, when I do right, no one remembers. Mm-hmm. When I do wrong, no one forgets. She gave me that when I was 28 years old.
Right. Now, you said, when I do right,
no one remembers.
No one remembers. When I do wrong,
no one forgets.
That's a good one.
You ready, Kev? All right, let's get it. Let's get it. That thing is going to fall. Okay, let's get it. All right, welcome back, St. Louis. Welcome back. Tag a friend and bring him in. Tag a friend and bring him in. Tag him right now. Bring him in right now.
And then after you tag it, you like it.
Share it.
And after you like it, you share it.
Follow it.
There you go.
Like it.
Tag it, like it, share it.
Tag it, like it, share it, follow it. No, you share it, like it, tag it, follow it. Share it, like it, tag it, follow it. It's the Freeman Bosley Jr. Show on Hallelujah 1600. Welcome back, St. Louis. We're talking about a few things. We've been trying to put some emphasis. Yes. Trying to put some emphasis on this variant of the COVID coronavirus. It's getting stronger and it's growing. It's like we tried to kill it, and he recognized that we tried to kill it. And he recognized what we were doing to try to kill it. So now it's getting stronger. It's morphing into something else. And this one is tougher and stronger. So we want you to be around. We want you to be around. Please, get the shot. Get the shot. That's all I'm asking. Danny, what else we got there?
And I'll say this. Usually people kind of don't want to get a shot because it hurts. It didn't hurt. Now, there was a little soreness on the arm.
Right.
The next few days, but the stick itself.
Right. It's over. And this is a little bitty needle.
Mm-hmm.
Right, this is a little bitty needle, and it's a little syringe. Right. It's a little bitty needle, and it's a little syringe. So it's just like a little prick, So it's not that bad, but we need you to get it. We need you to get it. So how are we with our young lawyer that's supposed to be calling in? Are we able to get him? Are we going to give him a few more minutes? What are we going to do there?
I think we need to, Kev, I think we got the number here.
Okay.
Hold on.
All right. Even the governor, the Republicans are urging people to get the shot. The governor on Wednesday said Missouri wants to increase the state's lagging vaccination rate for COVID-19. Now, did you hear that? We have a lagging vaccination rate. Lagging meaning we're behind. We're behind in as far as the other states are concerned. we have a lagging vaccination rate.
Now, here's another piece. You know, we as lawyers, you can never leave this part out. We actually picked up a case with a nurse, a healthcare worker, who contracted COVID as a result of her job.
Okay.
Um, she went in and worked with a patient. 2 days later, she got a call from the job that says that patient you saw has contracted COVID. We think you might be at risk.
Mm-hmm.
So she then went and got tested, and unfortunately, she was positive. And several weeks later, she passed.
Died. Yeah.
Died. We're looking at that as a possible workers' compensation claim. In fact, we have filed it on behalf of the family.
Okay.
We have direct proof in this instance that she contracted it from the job,
Mm-hmm.
from the workforce.
Mm-hmm.
So, not that this is a commercial, but if you have a family member who might have found themselves in that situation, we just might be able to assist.
Yes.
If you or your family member are a frontline worker, meaning a police officer, fireman, nurse, doctor, and you know that you contracted it, undeniably contracted as a result of your work, we want you to give us a call. You can reach Bosley and Associates at 621-1744, or you can reach Smith Brown at 314-403-2377.
Give it to him again.
So Bosley and Associates, 314-621-1744. And Smith Brown, 314-403-2377. That's if you know that as a result of your job you were exposed to COVID, and hopefully you healed, but if you have a loved one who even might have passed,
Mm-hmm.
give us a call. We might just be able to give you some assistance from
Yeah.
a legal standpoint.
That's right. Okay. So we have the attorney.
I'm here.
Oh, he's here, Danny.
I'm
How we doing, young man?
doing very well, thank you.
Well, you got a strong signal. We got a strong signal today. We appreciate it. Notice, ladies and gentlemen, the signal is even stronger. Used to be people would say, well, let them know I can't hear. I can't hear. I can't. It sounds like they're mumbling, but I think you're hearing a lot better quality sound now. Go ahead, Dan.
Well, we made a call because this happened so quickly. We
Yeah.
said we need an expert to come on
Yeah.
to speak about the situation with Mr. Bill.
Okay.
I made a call to Mr. William Daly, one of St. Louis's finest African-American attorneys, one of St. Louis's finest attorneys in general.
Yeah.
And Will immediately said that he was available to come on and talk to us today. So, Will, we appreciate you taking some time to discuss this Cosby situation with us.
That's right.
I'm honored to be here once again.
Yeah. Well, and you're right. You've been here with us several times before, but this is something that is extremely significant because this man was in jail for almost 3 years, wasn't he?
Right, yeah, he's going on 3 years.
Well, it seems like they arrested him in 2015. You know, armed with some newly unsealed evidence, but the evidence that they got was only because he agreed to do a deposition. He told the prosecutors, I will agree to do the deposition so long as you all don't prosecute me. So, and the prosecutor said, yeah, right? Is that right, Mr.
Well,
Gill?
it was actually a little bit more egregious than that.
Okay.
And what I would say, what I would offer, just for the sake of your listeners and
Go
so
ahead.
that everyone understands, anything that we say today about what happened with the Pennsylvania Supreme Court is not a statement as to whether or not Mr. Cosby was guilty or innocent, nor is it an indictment or any kind of an attack on women who are victims of sexual assault and abuse. We all stand in solidarity with those sisters and with those women who have gone through those horrific tales. This ain't about that. What happened here is a procedural thing, and it's very important to understand from the vantage of Black people, where historically the procedures have been utilized against us. It's important that if you say these are the rules and everyone has to abide by these rules, this is your Constitution, America. These are the safeguards and the protections that are afforded to you. Then we need the system. In order for the integrity of the system to work, there has to be consistency.
Yeah.
And so what happened is there's a Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination, which means that you cannot be forced to admit or to talk about anything that would lead to a criminal prosecution.
That's
So
right.
if if your fingerprints were on the gun, they own the murder weapon, and someone were to ask you, hey, do you own this type of gun? You can say, I plead the fifth. I don't need to admit that I own this gun because that evidence would be used to prosecute me.
Right.
And that protection that we have under the Fifth Amendment, it applies in civil cases as well. And so
Absolutely.
what happened with Bill Cosby is that there was one particular case, a civil lawsuit dealing with sexual assault allegations. And what the prosecutor at the time decided was, for whatever reason, because the prosecutor has full discretion as to whether or not to bring the charge, the prosecutor at that time decided that he did not believe he would be able to get or to prove Bill Cosby's guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. And so what the prosecutor decided was, I have this woman who I believe, I just don't think I can win on a criminal case for. I'm going to say, you know what, Bill, if you testify in this deposition, then we will not prosecute you. It won't be used against you. And so, Attorney Bosley, what happened is that it wasn't so much that Bill made the offer so long, it was the other way around. The civil judge said, I can't make him testify because you might charge him. Prosecutor said, you know what? I'll sign two press releases. They got the full 70 plus page opinion printed from the Pennsylvania Supreme Court. The prosecutor did two press releases where he signed off and said, I will not prosecute Bill Cosby for anything related to these allegations. And so the judge then ordered Bill Cosby to speak about the information. So it wasn't like Bill volunteered it. The
Okay.
judge then ordered him, you now have to answer questions about what this lady has alleged.
Okay.
And and once he did that, then that civil case became a lot more profitable, because if they were to go to trial and present his statement in that deposition, then he's going to have to take out his big checkbook.
That's right.
And that's what he did.
And
He
she
took out
settled
his
that case
checkbook,
for about 3 million,
set,
wasn't
exactly,
it? Okay.
settled the case. And so the prosecutor has gone on record as saying, the original prosecutor, I wanted her to have some degree of justice. And so that was the deal. The deal is, you talk about it in the civil case. That's going to improve her chances of winning the civil case. That's going to get you or to encourage you to settle the civil case. And we're going to seal the entire deal. So they said they were going to put it under seal and not open it up. So whatever Bill Cosby said or did not say in that deposition was never supposed to see the light of day. There was a confidentiality clause. The plaintiff in that suit couldn't talk about it, who was later the victim in the criminal case. Bill Cosby wasn't going to talk about it. The lawyers couldn't talk about it. It was sealed. And what happened with the new prosecutor is that the new prosecutor said, I didn't cut the deal.
Right.
That was my predecessor. And what he claimed was is that we wouldn't prosecute him on anything he said. Well, we're going to do it a little differently. We're going to bring this case and we're going to unseal that civil case. So now Mr. Cosby has already admitted the allegations.
Yeah.
So whereas under the Fifth Amendment, you have this protection against self-incrimination, the right to remain silent. We can't make you talk about this stuff. That's now been waived because he's already admitted the things that would have been necessary for the criminal conviction. And so what the Pennsylvania Supreme Court said was, even in the dissenting opinion, they said it was a bait and switch. It was a bait and switch that had been done in the civil case. We'll go out and put out this promise not to prosecute and to get you to admit it, but then we're going to pull it back and say, nah, we're going to prosecute after all. We changed our mind. We got some different information. And in order for the integrity of the system to survive, the Pennsylvania Supreme Court reached a decision that may upset a lot of people, but us lawyers, we immediately understood that it was probably the right thing to do. And hopefully once people get underneath the process and understand it's about procedures, not about the merits of the case, it's about the procedure. The system cannot survive if we were to permit prosecutors to then make deals not to prosecute and then to turn around and prosecute that case.
Yeah. And we
We
we make deals like this all the time. You
all
see,
the time.
and people don't. The general public doesn't understand it, and the general public doesn't know about it. But there are a lot of times when lawyers are in close quarters, talking among themselves, and they will be forthright, like you just said. The prosecutor is admitting, well, I don't think we got enough for this, but do you think that you might be willing to do that? And generally, it's a gentleman's agreement.
That's right.
It is a gentleman's agreement. And that's just the way it has always been throughout the test of time, particularly here in the United States. You know, a lot of times the stuff's not in writing. A lot of times they don't write it up. But there's an agreement between the parties, what they call it mutual assent among the parties. And that's what they had.
And historically,
Go ahead.
real quick, historically, those types of agreements were really an extension of privilege. For those individuals who had the means to hire an attorney, they were able to get a better outcome because
Yes.
their lawyer would go in and make those deals.
Right.
We've now evolved as a society where you now have black people who have the means or the wherewithal to get those deals. Something as simple as a speeding ticket.
Yeah.
For years, none of us knew that there was a group of lawyers out there getting these tickets, these moving violations amended to non-moving violations.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like the cat's out the bag. We now see, oh, that's how that part of the system works.
Right.
And so if that's going to be something that's permitted or allowed within the system, that you can cut a deal with a prosecutor that in exchange for you giving particular testimony in a civil case, they won't prosecute you in the criminal case, then it would apply even for what folks call good or bad people. Bad people have Fifth Amendment rights as well. And if you have that right not to speak and they coerce you into speaking with a deal not to prosecute, then you can't turn around later on and prosecute.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate, but it's almost like an opportunity cost. Some may say, well, what if that had never occurred?
Yeah.
If that deal had never occurred, then Bill Cosby will likely still be locked up right now.
Yeah.
But the question then becomes, could the new prosecutor have won the case without that deposition testimony from the civil case? We may never know because it wasn't presented that way. But that's I think the mental gymnastics that are at play right now. When we look at whether or not this was a just result, is something that procedurally the overturning that decision was something that is in line with best practices and interpretations of the Constitution and the rights that we have underneath the Constitution.
Just to make something clear to the listeners, we're talking about civil and criminal. So when somebody commits or is alleged to have committed some type of action, they are exposed to two different forms of liability. One is a criminal case. So that's when a prosecutor brings a charge or a criminal case against an individual. Now, the other possibility is that someone for that same incident or allegation can be brought charges against a civil case. Now, civil case means that the victim themselves or the alleged victim is seeking some type of money damages. And those two cases, although they're separate, they have a direct impact on each other. So what you say in the civil case, which is about money, can be used against you in the criminal matter.
Yes, it can.
So oftentimes we advise our clients, even if criminal charges have not been brought against them, if there are civil charges and we see the foresight that there could be criminal charges, we advise them not to give any comment, not to speak at a deposition as a part of the civil case, because what they say is on record can be used against them at the criminal case.
Yeah.
That's right.
And in this instance, Bill Cosby's lawyers advised him, you might have some criminal liability, so you don't need to say a word.
Yeah.
And it was not until, as Will pointed out, until the judge ordered him to speak because he was told that he would have no criminal liability that he agreed to participate.
That's right. And that's another reason why a lot of times, and they do it on the federal level, the FBI or the prosecutor, U.S. attorney, wants to talk to you. So you get a little concerned about what they want. What is it that they want? So you call your lawyer, and your lawyer says, "Well, okay, I'll go down with you." So you and your lawyer go down to talk to the FBI or talk to the U.S. attorney, and one of the first things your lawyer asks is my client a target in this investigation?
That's right. That's right. That's it.
That's it. If you're a target, then no, we're not talking.
That's right.
And then we will talk only if my client does not become a target. So those are things, and that's not written down anywhere. That's just an understanding that your side has with the FBI or with the U.S. Attorney's Office. Now, you got a lot of people think they know every damn thing, so they go running down there. Huh? They go running down there or sneaking down there and talking, just telling every damn thing. And then after it's over, oops, they got that whack upside the head. Now they come running back to the lawyer and then telling the lawyer, well, this is the case. This is what I got to do. The lawyer going to look at you. Well, what did you go down there for? And why are you calling me now? Yeah. And so now they want us, what they do, Will, want us to unring the bell, get the cat out the bag,
yes.
close the door after all the horses that ran out, and be a miracle worker.
Yeah.
Yeah. So these are a lot of people are smart. They get their it's called lawyer up and go down there and see what's going on.
Now, Will, we appreciate you coming on to speak with us this morning. If any of our listeners want to get a hold of you, how would they do that?
Yeah.
It's two ways. You can reach us at the office, 314-726-62, or our information is online, www.harvey-daily.com. Harvey, H as in Harry, ARVEY, -daily, D as in David, AILEY.com. And all the information you need to contact us is right there.
Mm-hmm.
Very good. Well, we appreciate you under such short notice coming to speak with us, but this is breaking news. It just happened.
Breaking news. And here's the other piece. Did you have something there?
Oh, no.
Okay. One thing to note here, and this is extremely important. There was a statute of limitations on this case. There was a 12-year statute of limitations. And, friends, what that means is for this particular charge that they charged Bill Cosby with, the state, the prosecutor, had 12 years to file this case. If you let 12 years run and you haven't filed, then it's done. It's over. You could never bring it. They indicted or charged Cosby. It's like it wasn't even a week left before the 12-year statute of limitations ran. So there was a rush to judgment. We got to get this filed. See, that's what they do a lot of times too. We got to get this filed. If we don't file it, he's gone. So they ran on down and came on out with it. That's what they did. But think about what Bill Cosby did. This man sat there for 2.5 years, insisting on his innocence. He could have came out and said, yeah, well, I did it or whatever, but he stood on it. You hear what I'm saying? But he had money too that helps substantially. He stood on it. For 2.5 years, he stood on it. My grandfather used to say, son, truth crushed to the earth shall rise again. Now, once it starts rising, and no telling where you have to go to get your good name back. They've destroyed your name. They destroyed your reputation. Got your wife and everybody all pissed off, close friends and everything. Oh, ain't it a shame with having a friend? But at the end of the day, Bill Cosby himself, the man, has to be proud of himself for what it is that he did. And now I'm not going to get into, maybe I should, but sometimes these things with the women, Will, some I know it's sensitive, but I'm an older guy, but it's very sensitive to be talking about these things in this day and age. But I think that maybe I can use like words of caution of sorts, to tell people, don't go to men's apartments, don't go to men's homes. You know for the most part what the deal is and what the deal has always been. So and then you go and many times you have enjoyed and reaped the benefits of these alliances. Huh? Yes, you have. And then we have people falling out after John goes on to the next one or continues his life and leaves you hanging now. But many instances, you have enjoyed it.
And and well, what I would add in that particular regard is that uh, sick men are sick men, and
What's
so
that?
folks
What
who
is that?
I said sick men are sick men,
Okay.
and so if a person is a sexual predator, then the naivety or the brilliance of a woman really wouldn't matter. It would be that guy is who we need to scrutinize and to hold accountable. I think that with Bill Cosby, the thing that we have to be careful with as a community is to understand that we can agree. We both can be people can folks may find him as a disgusting, despicable individual. That has nothing to do with whether or not this case was prosecuted properly. And I think that the lasting point that I would make or to leave with people is that this is what happened today. What happened today was the Pennsylvania Supreme Court decided that the prosecution was improper and that the law was not followed.
Yeah.
And that because the law was not followed, the conviction could not stand. Yeah. And they had to vacate the conviction because of that.
Okay. Now, Will, hold on, Will. Can you hang on for a minute? We got to go to a break. Can you stick with us for a little while?
Sure.
Okay. All right.
Sure.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to the Freeman Bosley Jr. Show on KTZ Hallelujah 1600. Keep it on lock. Quit playing. Now, all right. Now, can the people on the Facebook hear the lawyer? Okay. Okay. So we'll talk just a little bit because the people on Facebook can hear you. All right.
Okay.
So, Danny, did you want to go?
Well, I think there's another piece of that to what you said is that the other half of that equation is that men need to understand that perhaps they shouldn't be inviting folks over to the house at these late hours if they don't know that they've got consent.
Well, it's my house. They don't have to come.
Well, there's such thing as putting yourself in a trick bag.
You're going to put yourself in a trick bag at your house now, at a club or something like that? Yeah, but this is my house. I can invite people over if I want to.
Yeah,
now, go ahead. I'm listening.
But at the same time, in the culture that we're living in, people are looking for an opportunity. Mm-hmm. So sometimes
opportunists.
There you go. So don't put yourself in a position to be the one that they get that opportunity on.
Yeah. Okay. Well, all right. I hear you. So, Will, the other piece about this, Cosby's 83 years old.
Yes, he is.
Huh?
Right.
83 years old. And he was sick. And well, I bet you being in that 83 is enough to make you sick. Well, I mean, that's enough to make you sick. But he stood tall.
Now, is there any possibility of him coming back now that his conviction has been overturned and seeking compensation for this almost 3 years?
I thought about that.
He's been in prison. His attorney's costs and fees, humiliation.
What do you think about that, Will?
I would offer this free legal advice to Mr. Cosby that even if he could, I would encourage him not to do that. Because I think the overwhelming, at least just from what I've seen, since this story first hit during the trial and then even today, I think the overwhelming sentiment among women is that this was an outrage and they are not happy. Not to say all women or most women, but a whole bunch.
Okay.
And I think that to the extent that Bill Cosby seeks to engage, I know there's been talk about a reboot of A Different World. Cosby has a lot of commercial properties. The Cosby Show, Different World, things that were pulled. If he wishes to get those things back in place, what I would suggest at this moment would be grace and a contrite response to distance the allegations, distance himself from the allegations, and make this a situation where the system had to correct itself. The system did some things. So I would suggest that even if he could, and I'm not positive that he would have a civil cause of action against the prosecutor anyway, but even if he did, I would encourage him to let that.
Well, here, let me say this.
Go quietly into that good
Well,
night.
well, no, fold your tent and quietly leave the stage. But here's the other piece, though. For the most part, the damage has been done. You know, like I said, I don't think you're gonna be able to unring that bell. I think people have already formed their opinions about Bill Cosby, particularly the women and the women's movement, so to speak. You know, but at the same time, right is right, wrong is wrong. There may lie an action for this particular situation, you know, and I don't know whether Cosby would want to pursue it or not, but I would imagine it may lie, and if it does, you know, he has that option. Now, here's the other piece. Now, Cosby had received honorary degrees from like at least four highly respected universities. You hear what I'm saying? All of those degrees were taken back.
Okay.
Yeah, come on, come on back in.
All right, I'm back.
Yeah. Okay, hold on. All right, welcome back, St. Louis. You're listening to the Freeman Bosley Jr. Show on Hallelujah 1600 AM. I'm joined by Mr. Danny Brown, Judge Danny Brown, and we've got Attorney Will Daly on the line with us, and we're talking about the Bill Cosby decision. And, of course, those of you that have been living under a rock somewhere, Bill Cosby's conviction was overturned, and he is free. He walked out of jail on Wednesday. Bill Cosby did. And so we're talking about it. We're talking about the merits of it, the do's and the don'ts and the ifs and the whats, and we're just kind of handicapping it back and forth. So, Will, did you have something to say on that?
Well, it's essentially, I was saying that I think that we need to be careful by and among Black people at this moment. We need to be careful of allowing this example to not really hold its own for what it stands for. And what it is a situation where a Black man who had the system improperly used against him, that was overturned by the highest court in the land there. So you get to the Pennsylvania Supreme Court.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, the highest court in that state. And so that state came back and said, we have to apply the system consistently and we have to do it properly. And I think that what happens is that when we get into dialogue about the merits of the underlying allegations and those fact patterns as to what would happen, I think that reasonable people can exist on both sides of the equation. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a very dangerous dialogue to sometimes engage in, because it's emotionally based. Yeah. And this decision that happened today, I don't think that the court applied emotion at all. They applied the Constitution. Yeah, that's right. They said we have a Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination. You have a right to remain silent. He was denied, or that right was taken away from him in a civil case in return for a promise not to prosecute. And we have to honor that promise. You can't later on go and undo the promise not to prosecute, because that would derail the system. It would turn it upside down. And so I think that when we look to those allegations and how a lot of people rightfully may have some very strong feelings about Bill Cosby going free, I think it's important to understand how he was locked up to begin with.
That's right. Well,
we have an go ahead.
Yeah. Well, this is a radio show, and I enjoy having conversations like this. I like to pick a scab. I like to pull back the onion. I like to drill down and look beneath and get all down in the mucky muck so that we can sort things out, because I think that's what people like to do. And I like to do it, you know. But here's the other point that I wanted to make here now. You know, people are saying that folks were lured to his house. How do you lure somebody to your place at 1 o'clock in the morning? Now, and here's the other thing. Says that he admitted. Now, when he did talk after the prosecutor, it's almost like he was getting immunity. Will. It was almost as if he was getting immunity to talk. You can talk and you can give your deposition, and we're not going to pursue anything against you criminally. All right. So he opens up, and he said that he offered drugs to women. He offered these quaaludes to women. Did you come across anything that indicated that he slipped the Mickey in the drink, or that he put something in unbeknownst to the women?
So, Brother Mayor, this is when I'm gonna get real lawyer on you.
Oh, go ahead.
Real
All right,
lawyer
go
on
ahead.
you. Is because I think that those types of questions ultimately would be something that the jury would have to decide.
Okay.
And so you're absolutely right. I think that if you ask Bill, he may have said that I put the pills in the drink, but they knew about it and they were consenting.
Right.
If you ask the women, some of them said they did not know about it or that they did not consent.
Okay. So it's an issue of fact.
It's an issue of fact.
And the jury is a trial of fact. Right. Okay.
Jury's a trial of fact.
Okay.
And so,
I like
what happens is that if you have the defendant who already has stated that I put it, this is what I said about the Fifth Amendment. If the defendant has already stated that I did in fact put this drug in the drink, then that's 95% of the battle already won.
Well, but here,
because
go ahead.
If the argument is that a person was intoxicated, therefore they lost the power to consent, and all you have is one side saying, well, I believe there was some drugs put in my drink, but there's no evidence of any drugs because this happened 20 years ago. Mm-hmm. There's no evidence of a drug in the drink. There's no evidence that it was slipped in the drink. There's no evidence of any of that.
Yeah.
Then the prosecutor at that time may say, I'm going to have a hard time in the 21st century getting somebody to believe this story.
Right.
But if the other side admits, yes, I put the drug in the drink, it was there. The drug was given to her. You now have, that's no longer an issue of fact. That fact already has been proven and has already been given. And so the jury is really only deciding at that point, did she know about it in advance or agree to it or not? Right. But they already know that she was intoxicated. They know that there was this substance that would deprive her of the ability to say no, and it was in her drink. Right.
And, see,
and so,
Will,
go ahead.
Here's the deal. Now, I guess when we start drilling down, we have to get more specific, like you're doing. But it also requires that we pay more attention to the details of the document. So now I guess, and I haven't read that deposition, and I don't know how far you got into it either. But basically, what I'm seeing here is that when Cosby was granted the immunity from the prosecution, and they took his deposition, during his deposition, Cosby was under oath and said he used to offer it to the women. Not that he would slip it or that he put it in, that he would, here, you want some of this? You want, what would they call quaaludes or something, quaaludes or whatever. Here, you want a quaalude? He would say, here, do you want it? So now what are your thoughts on that?
So, well, let me ask you: if you're the defense, if you're the defense attorney, and you remember how you said about, is my client a target? If you're the defense attorney, and that question is presented to your client, do you ever allow your client to answer that question? No. Do you let him say, "I offered it"? No, you're not going to say you offered it. No, you're not going to say that you don't want any statement that says that those pills were even present and available.
Yeah, but so we have it.
Well, I'll say this, Will.
Go ahead.
Even though the state prosecutor agreed to give Mr. Cosby immunity, I see no such agreement with the federal government. Right. So without that, I still wouldn't let Bill Cosby testify if he was my client. Right. I don't care what agreement we've got. We still might face some federal liability. And that's
why. But the judge required him to. That's the point. The judge now said if you don't testify, you're in contempt of court, not get punished. Mm-hmm. And so I think that was the difference. I think his lawyers at that point, you have an order from the judge that says you have to answer this question. Do you want to advise your client to defy the judge and now you have a contempt case going on? Or do you say, well, we got this deal where you're not going to get prosecuted criminally. Get your checkbook ready because you're about to lose this civil case. go ahead and tell the truth.
And as he
I
did,
think
it
right,
cost him $3.4 million.
Well, yeah, yeah. That part of it's over.
right,
That part of it's over, and I just want to say this on Bill Cosby's behalf. Now I know people have characterized him as a sexual predator, and they hate him, and some people do, some people don't. But here's some of the more substantive things that Bill Cosby did was, here's a man, a black man, that probably donated over $500 million to black colleges and
black
black
colleges.
universities throughout this country, and many times, many more times than not, we have black people that amass this type of wealth and go on about their business and never reach back, never look back, move as far away as they possibly can get from black people, never to be heard from again. Now, you'll see them in the particular sport that they play, or on the particular stage that they show up on. But in terms of what they give to the community, uh, very little. Nowadays, you see, as we come forward, you see athletes and others now banding together to do more. But Bill Cosby did it when it was not popular. He did it before
Right,
out of the kindness of his heart. He didn't. He wasn't. Didn't feel. See, a lot of people now feeling compelled. Man, I need to do something that give some kind of demonstration. But he did this stuff 20, 30 years ago.
right.
And I'm just saying that needs to be acknowledged.
Him and his and what I would offer to that point, because I totally agree, is to give credit to Camille as well, because I think a
Oh,
lot of those
absolutely.
donations,
Yeah.
yeah, those donations, the Cosbys have given easily $500 million,
Yeah.
and I personally graduated from one of the institutions that was the recipient of those
Okay.
funds, and so we cannot, at least I don't think we should, fail to honor or forget those
Yes.
benefits. Generations of black folks went to black colleges because we were introduced to the beauty of black
That's right.
colleges by a different world. And that was
Yes.
his creation. That was his creation. As
Yeah.
kids, a lot of folks grew up looking at Fat Albert
Yeah.
and learning
Hey,
life lessons and things in his.
hey.
That was his creation. And so I think that if America can turn a blind eye to Thomas Jefferson and whatever uh, activities that took place between him and Sally Hemings, and have
Mm-hmm.
countries
Mm-hmm.
and counties and states and printed on money and everything else, then certainly I would hope that history would look at this era and 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 show that same degree of recognition for the good that was done or that came about. It's not to excuse anything else, but it's saying again, let's be consistent.
Yeah. That's right. That's right. So, uh, you got anything else
But
you want to talk about, or
I,
what do you got going? What are you doing?
I I'm working. That's why I'm
Okay.
saying I appreciate you all for having me on today. I totally do. It's an honor.
Okay.
And now I'm about to go back to billing some time.
Yeah. Well, that's what you have to do if you got clients that pay like that. You see, most you're fortunate. You fortunate. Okay, Danny, what do you have? Would you have anything for Will?
Oh yeah. One more time, Will. If any of our listeners want to get a hold to you, give them again your telephone number and what type of cases you handle.
Sure. You can reach us here at 314-726-6262. I do a significant amount of family law, so all areas of family law, but then also a very large part of our practice is civil litigation. And so that would include medical negligence, breach of contract, landlord tenant type of cases. We do some general counsel work for churches and organizations, commercial, real estate development, and bond counsel work. And I'm going to say selective amount of personal injury. But I will say this, in truth and all fairness, if you got a criminal matter, I'm referring you to Smith Brown. So
Ah,
that's not a paid plug. It's just the truth, because I send any criminal referrals that I get. I do not handle criminal, but I highly recommend the good folks at Smith Brown and folks got those kind of issues.
Okay. All right. Well, okay then, Will. Listen, thank you so much, man. I think the public, the listeners, really appreciate you chiming in and we mixing it up just a little bit here. And we wish you the best of luck, and we're sure that you'll be back, and we'll be seeing you and talking to you about a lot of various and sundry things.
Thank you. Thank you all. You all take care.
All right. Hasta la vista. Take care. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to the Freeman Bosley Jr. Show. It's time for a break. Let's keep it on lock. Quit playing.
Quit playing. Well, Will came on basically with no notice.
Yeah, very little. Very little. You just picked up the phone, right?
And
We
he
were
was
we were
enthusiastic.
we were dialing around, calling around, trying to find somebody that could come on with us, at the spur of the moment, because we just got the news, we just printed off the articles, we were just reading and digesting the stuff ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And then Danny said, "Well, why don't we try to get a couple lawyers to come on?"
And immediately, Will immediately said, "Absolutely, I would love to talk about this."
Beautiful.
So
Fantastic.
it's not often that people are so willing. A lot of people are shy of this microphone. It scares them.
That and this issue is controversial,
Absolutely.
and so a lot of folks want to stay in the middle of the road. I like to just go and get in it and mix it up a little bit, and I think people expect that, and that's what they like, and we give it to them here. But he got right on in it and dealt with it, and I think he gave a good account of himself.
Oh, absolutely. And Will is one of many fine African American attorneys here in St. Louis.
Absolutely.
The Mound City Bar Association is an organization that you can look to if you're looking for representation, or you can just go to Google. You can Google anything.
Mm-hmm.
So oftentimes we can be quick to run to someone else to get help when we're in trouble, but help sometimes you don't have to look far; it's right in front of you.
That's
And
right.
there are many fine African American attorneys right here in St. Louis who are ready, willing, and very able to assist you if you run into some kind of issue.
Mm-hmm.
Two of them happen to be sitting here with you today.
All right.
I can't ever miss that opportunity. Of course, if you want to reach Bosley and
Yes, sir.
Associates,
You give us a call at 621-1744. That's 621-1744. Smith Brown.
314-403-2377.
That's right. That's right. And we've had several big cases that we've been working on. One of them is about 6 years. This case has been a huge fight that we've been involved in with a young man. Our client was a young man who was riding his motorcycle, had his girlfriend with him, and they were riding down on Broadway, and here comes a guy, been drinking at one of the establishments downtown since 7 o'clock at night, and here he comes at 12 o'clock midnight, driving on the wrong side of the street on Washington, headed toward Broadway, and hits our client and kills him. All right, so we've been involved in this wrongful death case for probably 6 years, taking depositions, motions for production of documents, requests for admissions, interrogatories, doing investigations, tracking down witnesses, getting all different types of testimony. But this company that we've been in litigation against has a lot of money.
They're fighting us back hard.
Tooth and nail. You see what I'm saying? And so the family, however, has been very patient, while we carry this on. And it's been an ongoing thing. But
You might even call them a giant.
yeah.
But one thing's for sure.
The David that slayed Goliath.
As big as they are, is the harder we're fighting back.
That's right. The David that fought Goliath. You know what I'm saying? And that's where we are right now. And it's close. We'll be having closure on this pretty soon, by the end of the year.
And the thing about it, some might see a large corporation and shy away. But at the end of the day, right is right and wrong is wrong. And if a corporation does not act in a responsible way, and your family member is injured as a result, then that corporation should be held responsible.
Absolutely.
And one thing that you have taught me over the years, I've worked with Freeman since I was an intern in law school. I came to Freeman. I said, I was writing for St. Louis American at the time. And I said, Freeman, I'm in law school. I'd like to an internship. So Freeman said, come on down. I'll give you a shot. So from law school, Freeman then brought me on to work for him. And now we are partners and share space in the law office. And throughout the 15 years plus that I've worked under Freeman and with Freeman, one thing he has told me is do not be scared.
Yeah.
No matter how big they are, right is right and wrong is wrong.
That's right.
And what do you say? Truth
Crushed to the earth.
shall rise
Shall
again.
rise again. It's my grandfather. He said, truth forever on the scaffold, wrong forever on the throne. Standeth God within the shadows, keeping watch upon his own. So just keep going. Just keep going. You ready to come back, Cap?
Yes, sir. Something happened just now. I don't know what happened. Everything was.
Well, you better find out what it is, because we want something to be happening for the listeners here. Yeah, I mean, and that's something that is extremely important.
Okay.
Yeah, so there we go. That's something extremely important, you know. Welcome back, St. Louis. You're listening to the Freeman Bosley Jr. Show on KTZ 1600 AM. We just had some great conversation with a young attorney that's in town. Has been here long time, been practicing, plugging away. Will Daly, ladies and gentlemen. Will Daly just left off there, and we were talking about the Bill Cosby decision and what it means and what led to it, and what were some of the things that the pros and cons, basically, like lawyers do. We always like to handicap things, dissect things, but you know, one of the things that I always say is it's important for the people. You got to drill down. You got to drill down to get into the specifics, to let them know the ifs, the ands, the buts, the who's, the whys. And that's what we were doing, and trying to give them some insight into what was going on here. And Mr. Danny Brown, the judge out here in North County, was also part of that conversation, and I think he gave a good account of himself. So we're just trying to give you the information. We're just trying to give you the information. It's called infotainment, because we try to laugh a little bit too. I try to put a little humor with some of these things, because a lot of times things, you know, people take life too seriously, and a lot of stuff you just got to kind of learn to laugh with it a little bit. And I'm not saying that takes anything from it. It doesn't, but it does. It makes a little bit more better, a little bit more tolerable. You know, so try to bring some humor into your life if you can. It's extremely important, because internalizing things make you sick. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, that's it.
I just checked our Facebook feed. We have two of our clients are actually watching us on Facebook, and they both said hello.
Hey, all right then.
We got Miss Henrietta Johnson, who's a
Oh,
long-time faithful listener.
Miss Henrietta, now that's a soldier. Miss Henrietta Johnson, I remember the case that we worked on for her with her son was, I want to say, murdered by the police out in North County in Hazelwood, and they did some terrible things to her son. And we went, Danny, I think you were with me when we went to the hospital and saw where the handcuffs had cut into his wrist. He was beaten badly. You hear what I'm saying? And we also got audio. And Miss Johnson, we didn't really want Miss Johnson to listen to the audio, and but she insisted, you know. So we, I whenever I think about it, I smile, because I know she had a button all the time with her son's name on it. All the time she had a button with her son's name on it.
And every week she continues to tune in. She has been a loyal listener.
That's great.
And then, of course, we have a new client that's said hello to us, Miss Felicia Elkins. Says hello. So we want to say hello back to Miss Elkins.
I understand that Miss Elkins had a chance to meet with the authorities the other day.
Yeah.
Did you go?
Yeah, we got a chance to do that. Miss Elkins has been fighting for justice for her son, Moye. He was killed over
at the filling station.
At
Grand and Natural Bridge.
And she has been diligently working with the St. Louis City Police Department to find the 2 young men that perpetrated that. So we're working very hard on her behalf, and we really appreciate her tuning in today as well.
We are proceeding against. Now, we can't get into a lot of the facts, but we are proceeding against the establishment on the grounds that they had a duty to protect her son. They had a duty to have security there. They had a duty to have the people properly trained that worked there. And it could have been prevented. It could have been prevented. So this case, I know she knows, and I know she doesn't like to think about it, but it's going to be a long haul. And I think she's prepared for it, but at the same time, don't mean she likes it.
Yeah, and again, we ask if anyone knows anything about it, they please contact the St. Louis City Police Department.
Yes, absolutely.
But what we wanted to just say thank you to our loyal listeners.
Absolutely.
And loyal clients. We appreciate you tuning in, watching in, sharing in.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
And don't forget, like it, share it, tag it, follow it. Like it, share it, tag it, follow it. It's the Freeman Bosley Jr. Show on 1600. Hallelujah. And that way you help us grow, and you have. You've helped us grow this show in more ways than you'll ever know. But each time you watch, if you like it, if you share it, if you tag it, if you follow it, then it's going around to your other friends and letting them know to do the same. And so by what we call geometric dispersion, the show grows. It just keeps on growing, And Danny and I'm one person. Danny's one person. Shaheed is one person. Felicia Hampton is one person. And Kevy Kev is just one person. But you are many. You are many, and so it's through you and only through you do we get a chance to grow. So we appreciate that, and we appreciate the opportunity.
You said something that's important. Kevy Kev.
Yeah.
We have one of St. Louis's legends of radio.
Legendary.
Legends of radio right here working on the Freeman Bosley Jr. Show.
Yes.
Kevy Kev, also known as Kevin Pulliam.
Yes.
He's here every week. He gets here early. He gets the sound going.
And stays late after we leave.
Absolutely.
He's still here.
Not only does he do the sound, but he comes with articles and matters to discuss.
Yes.
So we are really appreciative of everything that he does to make this show happen. And he does an awesome job with that. Now, Freeman, did you know there was a huge event in St. Louis last weekend? Huge event. It was the United States Gymnastics Championships came to St. Louis, Missouri.
And that pretty black girl was the one that led the charge.
Miss Simone Biles.
Yes. Demonstrated.
She is recognized as being one of the top gymnasts in the world. And she is leading the U.S. Gymnastics team to Tokyo as a result of the competition she participated in right here in St. Louis last weekend.
That is fantastic.
The American did a little article on it. They said there were 2 huge sporting events last week in St. Louis. There was a St. Louis Cardinals game, and there was a gymnastics tournament.
Yeah.
The Cardinals drew 25,000.
Okay. Yes.
The gymnastics tournament drew 21,000. So this was huge.
Was that at the Dome?
At the Dome.
Oh man, I didn't know it was going to be that well attended. I didn't know that many people were going to be able to get in there. But that's fantastic. That is fantastic. So Miss Biles, she carried the day.
Absolutely.
Huh?
It said even though she was not at her best, she is going to be leading not St. Louis, but the United States women's gymnastics team to the Tokyo Olympics. So we certainly want to salute her. We certainly want to we look forward to all the athletes we're going to see at the Tokyo Gymnastics.
That's right. That's it.
One sport I really like watching, Freeman, is the track and field.
What do you like about that?
Man, it's amazing to always see if the world record's going to get broke.
Oh,
this year.
okay.
You know, the 100 meter, the 200 meter, the 400 meter, those races are explosive. So I always look forward to watching that in the Olympics every year.
So when is the Olympics? When is is it the Summer Olympics, or what is it going to be?
Oh yes, it's the Summer Games, the Tokyo Summer Games.
Okay.
So
Everybody's on their way to Tokyo.
that's it.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, that's great. So we're gonna see what's happening with that. But this whole thing about I want to get back into. It looks like it's gonna be July the 23rd. That's the Olympics, so on July the 23rd. But again, I just can't overemphasize the importance of this COVID, people. I'm telling you, I've lost some good friends with this. Some real good friends. One of my good friends' wife died from COVID. I've had some people that were patrons up at the bar, up at the Zodiac, caught COVID just doing their everyday life, and they died. They no longer see them anymore. We can't hug them, can't shake their hand. Gone. And so I'm not the only one. I know you know people too, and I know that you have these conversations with folks. Get the shot. Quit fooling around. Get the shot. I know the conspiracy theorists are out there. Yes, they are. The conspiracy theorists, they're out there. But I'm telling you, when you're gone, you're gone. Ain't no wish I coulda, shoulda, coulda, woulda. That's that. This stuff is real. It's very real. And the thing that you can do to protect yourself, or at least better protect yourself than what you're doing now, get the shot. Go get the shot. Daddy.
I got mine. Mine. I'm on it.
I got mine. Kev got his. We're still lagging, though. We're still lagging. Yeah, that's right.
I told you, I got to the point where my mother and father didn't start a conversation with, "Did you get your shot yet, son?"
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's it.
And when I called my mother and told her I had gotten the shot, she actually cried tears of joy.
Oh, man.
Tears of joy, because she said, "I can finally hug you again."
Yeah. Isn't that something?
So I'm happy. I did it. I didn't do it so much for me because I was hesitant.
Yeah.
But I definitely did it for my parents.
Yeah.
I would never want to expose them to any kind of illness as a result of being around me. And one thing they told me was I would not expose them to any illness for being around me because they would not be around me unless I got the shot. They let me drop the groceries at the front door.
But you know what? People were doing that with their children and their loved ones a year ago. Folks want to go see the mom, go see the dad, go see grand. Leave it on the porch.
Leave it on the porch.
Leave it on the porch.
And guess what? They'd also
I'm
do.
not
Freeman.
coming out. Huh?
They would talk to me through the screen door, through the glass. Talk to me.
Yeah,
through
yeah.
the glass.
That's it. You know, and that's how it goes. But see, the thing about this, it's like it has an effect on everybody. Everybody. It's a different effect on every individual. And some people respond to it nonchalantly. Oh, well, it's not going to get me. I'm going to be fine. But it's some other people that, hey, man, they gloved up. They masked up. They social distancing. They washing stuff down in the house. They got everything covered. They're doing it all. So you go from that one extreme to the next extreme. So that and everybody else is in the middle. So the main thing is get the shot. That's all I can say is get the shot. Every day I'm having a conversation with somebody and about why they are not getting the shot. Every day. Sometimes it's 2-3 people. Every day. Why are they not getting it? Why they don't have it? So,
well, I'll tell you, I was a bit skeptical. But the statistic that kind of convinced me, they said if you get the shot, you're 91% less likely to contract COVID. And if you contract COVID, you are even more unlikely to be hospitalized because of the sickness.
yeah.
So it's just not a matter of not getting sick, but if you do get sick, you don't get as sick. So there's two levels of protection there.
Yeah.
And of course, what really convinced me was I couldn't speak to my mother without her saying, "Son, did you get the shot?" And I'll tell you this. Last week I did something that I have not done in over a year and a half, Freeman. I walked into my parents' house.
Oh, they let you in.
They let me in.
Finally.
Now,
and was it been a year?
Since March.
Last March.
Yeah, March.
So that's that's a year 3 months.
Yeah. I'll never forget my dad said, because when COVID first hit and everything was shut down, I was going to my parents' house every day. I was looking forward to it.
Absolutely.
I was exploring the house. I was enjoying being back in my childhood home. And my dad came to me and said, "Son, as much as we love having you over, our doctor told us that if you don't live here, you don't need to be here. So, so we're going to kindly invite you not to come back in.
You're not a mandatory resident."
There you go.
Yeah.
So after a year and a half, last week I had the privilege of walking, and that's the kind of thing you don't get to appreciate until you get to do it.
Well, yeah.
So get the shot.
Well, and let me give you this as an example of the level of vaccinations that we have here in Missouri. For people that are 85 and up, 72.8% have gotten the shot. For people 75 to 84, 79%, 79.5, that's almost 80%. 65 to 74, 79.5% have gotten the shot. For people 55 to 64, 78%, 78.9% have gotten the shot. For people 45 to 54, 61% have gotten the shot. Now, for people 35 to 44, 50%, 50.8% have gotten the shot. So if you're in a group of people that are 35 to 44 years old, if it's 10 of them there, 5 of them got the shot and 5 of them don't. Okay? For people 23 to 34, 47.4% have gotten the shot. So it goes down. The younger you are, the less the vaccination rates. So, and that's because the younger you are, the stronger you feel.
Invincible.
The more rebellious you are. So that's how that plays out. And so now it's up to us, the older folks, to try to impart some wisdom to the younger people. Get the shot. Don't try to figure it all out and sort through it and this and that, and we got this over here, and they saying that over there. You're not a doctor, although you think you are. You're not a nurse, although you might claim to be. You're not a healthcare professional at all, but you want to have an opinion about it, and you're entitled to it. You're entitled to your opinion. But at the end of the day, this stuff is medicine, and it's science. And all you got to do is just follow it, and it'll tell you what to do. So you get the shot. It's time for us to go to a break, though. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to the Freeman Bosley Jr. Show on KATZ 1600. Hallelujah! Keep it on lock. Quit playing. All right, we got a final 9 minutes.
Okay.
Huh? One more 9?
One
And
more
that's
nine,
it?
and that's it.
Okay.
Well, we certainly appreciate everyone that has tuned in to the Freeman Bosley Jr. show this week. It's certainly a pleasure to be able to sit here with a longtime friend and mentor and fill in for another friend and mentor, Brother Shaheed. Brother Shaheed's not here with us this week. He's on special assignment, but I got a story I want to tell about Brother Shaheed, and just in case he's watching on Facebook. So I got to know Brother Shaheed as a result of his interactions with my parents, who both work for the St. Louis Public Schools. And Brother Shaheed, as an activist, was very involved with student success in the St. Louis Public Schools. So he tells the story of, he says that one day he'd gone up to the board and he was raising all kind of commotion and was trying to get some changes made. And he said the seas parted. And he said, they led him into my father's office. He said everybody else was running from him, Brother Shaheed said, but my dad said, come on in, take a seat. So which Brother Shaheed said threw him off a little bit because he's not used to that. Most people run from him. And he said my dad did something else. He reached over and he picked the Bible up and he set the Bible on the table. And Brother Shaheed says, when your father picked up that Bible, he said, I knew I was talking to a man of God, and I knew I wasn't going to run over him, and I knew that he was a serious man. And he said, from that day on, I have respected your father, and from that day on, your father has been a good friend of mine. I'll tell you how good of a friend he was. My dad had to get knee replacement surgery. And when you get knee replacement surgery or any surgery, you got to get to the hospital early. I mean, we're talking 4, 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. So the Browns, we all got up early. We pulled over to the hospital, thinking that we were going to be the first ones there. Brother Shaheed was sitting in the waiting room for us when we got to the hospital. So every time he sees me, he asks me, how's your mother doing? How's your father's doing? I love your parents. So he's a brother that not only he says that to me, but he has showed it to my family over and over again. So we appreciate that. And if Brother Shaheed was here, he'd ask me how my parents are doing, and I'm going to answer back through Facebook and tell him they're doing very well. So thank you for asking. There's another issue that's been going on that's important for us to address, and that's these evictions here in St. Louis City and St. Louis County. Over the last year and a half, there have been a lot of individuals who have not been able to pay the rent or who have chosen not to pay the rent. And as a result of that, these landlords are really starting to pick up on eviction actions. I'm getting a lot of phone calls in my law practice from potential clients who are looking to evict tenants who have not been paying. So if you have not paid your rent, whether you chose not to pay it or you could not pay it, now is the time to figure out how to get your house in order. So there are several programs here in the St. Louis area that you can reach out to that have rental assistance. And in fact, both in St. Louis City and St. Louis County, there are funds set aside, dedicated funds, to assist individuals who might be behind on their rent. So if you're one of those ones who is facing eviction, don't wait till you get that summons in the mail that says you're being served with an eviction lawsuit. Go ahead and contact St. Louis County courts or St. Louis City courts now and see if you can't get some of that rental assistance help before you face eviction, because it's real. These landlords are very serious. Another great resource you might be able to look at is the Urban League. The Urban League has several housing assistance programs. They have housing counseling programs. They have housing repair programs. And they also have some rental assistance programs. So again, if you find yourself in need and are facing eviction, don't wait till you get served with a lawsuit to get help. Go ahead and contact St. Louis County courts or St. Louis City courts or some of the other resources here in St. Louis like the Urban League to see if you can get some rental assistance before it's too late. We got some other good news this week. The St. Louis American is again named the nation's top black newspaper. So over and over again, we see that the American received this award as being recognized as not one of the best black papers in America, but as the best black newspaper in America. When I was in law school, I had the opportunity, well, undergrad and law school, I had the opportunity to work for the St. Louis American. And I'll tell you, that is it's a tough job to work in journalism. You've got a hard deadline. So you knew that every Wednesday your stories had to be finished. Whether you had the information you needed or didn't have the information you needed, on Wednesday you had to turn in the story because on Thursday the paper was coming out. So it is a tough grind, the journalism business. So we just want to say congratulations to the St. Louis American on again being recognized as one of the top newspapers. Not one of the top, but the top black newspaper in the nation. Dr. Suggs is there. Alvin Reed is there doing sports. When I was there, Alvin was a mentor to me. So he's still at the American, and he's doing a great job. And, of course, you can never forget Mr. Wiley Price. Wiley has taken some iconic photographs for the American. So it's always exciting to look in the paper and see on the front cover just not a beautiful picture taken by Wiley, but to see his name on the issue over and over again, year after year, week after week. So congratulations to the St. Louis American. Before we move on to our next segment, I guess I want to tell you a little bit about what I do. Freeman left me the microphone, so I guess that means I get to say whatever I want to say, so I'm going to. I have been practicing law for the last, I've graduated from law school in 2007, and I currently am a partner in the law firm of Smith Brown, LLC. My partner is Mr. Ryan Smith. An interesting story about Ryan and I, he is from Kansas City and I'm from St. Louis. And we did not meet each other until we took the bar exam. You go into a room and it's full of people and everybody looks scared and timid and frustrated because that's what you are when you take the bar. So I look over and there's a brother sitting 2 people over from me, and we gave each other a head nod and we kind of spoke to each other after the first break. And then after the second break, we spoke again and kind of said, hey, how did you do? We kind of exchanged notes. And by the third break, we were the best of friends. Ryan ended up practicing law here in St. Louis under his uncle, Mr. Melvin Smith, and I took a job working for Freeman Bosley. But we always said that one day we were going to be able to work together. So that ended up happening, and we started a practice called Smith Brown. Smith Brown, of course, shares space with none other than the law firm of Mr. Freeman Bosley Jr., Bosley and Associates. And what we are often able to do is combine the resources of our firms. So you although you might hire one, you end up getting 2.
2 for the price of 1.
Because we share space, we consult with each other on a daily basis. Every day I talk to Freeman. Freeman says, what you got going on today? Anything new?
Yeah.
Then he says, anything heavy?
Yeah, that's what I want to know.
So the relationship allows us to bounce things off of each other. And then especially on these bigger cases, it allows us to partner with each other so that when we face these big giants, we can be giant killers.
That's right.
So you've heard of 2 heads are better than 1, 2 firms are better than 1.
And one of the things that we discovered was on the insurance claims, the personal injury on the insurance claims, the insurance companies in many instances have policies that they have sold to businesses like bars, restaurants, clubs, nightclubs, filling stations, particularly where liquor might be sold. These insurance policies have what you call particular sets of exclusions And that's where you have to come in, and that's where you bring the lawyers in, or should bring the lawyers in, to read the policies, because the exclusions is where they get you. Say, for instance, if you buy a $200,000 policy from somebody on your business, you think you got your business insured for $200,000. In many instances, you do, but the fine print excludes certain acts. So you think that anything somebody falls, something happens on the property, and all that stuff is covered. But these policies have 1 or 2 page exclusions with them. Sometimes one of them just might be 1 exclusion. Sometimes it's 2. Sometimes it's 3. But they are steady chipping away at the coverage that you think you bought. And not only do you think you bought it, you are on the assumption that you have it. But then when something happens, and then you file a claim, the insurance company writes you back and says, yes, you had. Well, first they'll say, thank you for the coverage. Thank you for buying coverage with our firm. And then it'll say, however, based on the exclusion, this particular incident is not covered. So there it goes. You out of luck.
Now, Kevin, how long is our next segment? How long?
9 minutes. So
Okay. Well, let's not give them too much during the Facebook. Let's give them a little bit about premises liability once we go back into the radio
All
show.
right. All right. All right, welcome back. Okay, this is our last segment, ladies and gentlemen. Now, you got to get with the program. First of all, you got to get with the program and get the shot. Okay, we want you to get the shot. I'm going to say this. Please get the shot. Please get the shot. All right. And secondly, you're listening to the Freeman Bosley Jr. Show on Hallelujah 1600. Hallelujah 1600. You're listening to us. And so we need you to like it, share it, tag it, follow it. Like it.
Share
it. Tag it. Follow it.
Follow it. There you
Let's
go.
help us grow. Let us grow together. We can do it together. Let us grow together. So we were talking a little bit about premise liability here, weren't we, Danny?
Yes. So one of the areas of law that you and I work with and that we really enjoy and have had success with is an issue called premises liability. So premises liability means that a business or a homeowner or an establishment are responsible for anything that happens to their customers or visitors while they're on their property. So you've heard of a slip and fall case. A slip and fall case might be a type of premises liability. If you slip on someone's property and you're injured, if the property owner was negligent, then they can be held responsible for your injury. Unfortunately, we live in a very, 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 at times, dangerous city. And a premises liability issue that often comes up is that individuals are sometimes murdered while on a business owner's property.
Yeah.
And oftentimes what has happened before these murders take place, that these businesses have had previous incidents of folks getting hurt or crimes or other things taking place on their properties. And sometimes we'll get that police logbook and it'll show that before somebody got killed, there might have been 30 calls
for service.
Calls for service on a particular property saying that there's a dangerous condition going on your property. And as a result of that, they're put on notice that they need to do something. And oftentimes they don't do anything until somebody gets killed, which is a shame. So in a premises liability case, if we can establish that a business knew or should have known that crimes were taking place on their property, and they did not do anything about it, if someone is injured or killed after they should have known, then that business can be held responsible.
Now, the problem a lot of times is you don't know that. You take that loss, you take that grief, you take that frustration and that disgust, and you live with it, and you go on. But on many instances, you need to take another look because, as Danny's told you, with that premise liability, along with that comes as a phrase called a duty to protect. Whenever somebody has a business and opens up that business, they invite you in. Come and eat. Come and buy things. Come and drink with us.
Come get some gas.
Come get some gas. When they do that, there's a little invisible phrase that says, we will protect you. They have a duty to protect you. And you come because you think you might be safe. More and more now, we know we're not safe, but you basically come because you think you're safe or think you will be safe. You come in the side, you sit down, or you buy stuff. You don't expect anything to happen to you. This is called a duty to protect. Now, when something does happen to you, or if something does happen to you,
Or to your loved one.
or to your loved one, like Danny has explained to you, they have the business has a duty to protect you. Now, if, like Danny said, if they've had what you call calls for service, if they've had fights, arguments, and the police been up there 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times, then they now have been put on notice. You all
Got a problem.
you got a problem up here. So now you on notice that it's a problem. So that takes it to another level. So now you know you got a problem. What else have you done?
Yeah, what you gonna do about it?
Did you get a security guard? Do you go out and police your lot? Do you go out and walk around your area? Do you have people there that work that specifically make sure everything is all right? That is what you're supposed to do. And the more calls for service, the more responsibility you have to take upon as being a business person to go out and make sure people are safe. And that's when the liability comes in. So give us a call, Bosley and Associates, 621-1744, 621-1744. Danny?
Smith Brown, 314-403-2377. So here's what we're saying to you. If you or your loved one was injured on someone else's property because of their negligence, meaning they were shot, they were stabbed, they were beaten up, if they were injured on someone else's property, it's very possible that you have a cause of action against the business.
Absolutely.
If your loved one got killed at a gas station, it's very possible if that gas station had previous incidents, you might have a cause of action against that gas station. And so if you have that situation, or the club, oftentimes these clubs have fights and things. If you have a loved one who gets injured or hurt at a club or killed at a club, and that club has had previous incidents of fights, that club might be able to be held responsible for your loved one's injury or death. And that's an area of the law that Freeman and I have really, really taken pride in being able to assist our clients in. We've had some great recoveries.
Absolutely.
So if you have found yourself in that situation, call us. We can help you. Bosley & Associates, 621-1744. Smith Brown, 314-403-2377. We would love to help you. We would love to assist you. We would love to help get justice for your loved one that was hurt because of a business owner's negligence.
And they were negligent in several different ways. Maybe negligent hiring. Maybe they were negligent in terms of hiring the people that worked there. The people that worked there were not necessarily competent and qualified to do that job. They were negligent in terms of how they managed the place. There were several different forms of negligence. But you don't know that. That's why we're here. We're here to help you. We're here to help you sort the things out. And that is part of the problem. A lot of times you don't call us and you don't turn the stuff over to us when you're going through it. See, that when you're going through it, when it happens, that is the time to call or have somebody else call and just lay it off. Lay it off to us and we'll take care of it, or we'll get to the bottom of it to the best of our ability and give you what you need to know to make a decent and an informed decision. That's all you want. You want to have the information at hand to be able to make an informed decision. There'll be times when there might not even be anything, but at least you know. And then don't say, well, some people say, well, I'm going to leave it up to God and take it off. Well, God helps those who help themselves. You hear what I'm saying? And so he's leaving it up to you to help yourself in terms of this situation. So it's time for us to go.
Let me thank you for letting me sit in this seat with you this week.
Hey, look here. You might be moving somebody, Carla May or Anthony Shaheed or Sister Felicia Hampton might not have a job.
Oh, huh? I wouldn't say that, but I will say that if they are ever on special assignment, I'd be more than happy to come in and fill in their large shoes to fill. But I really have enjoyed myself this week.
Let me give a shout out to Gwen Reed. That's a good lady. I mean, I've been knowing her ever since I was in my early 20s. She is something else. Gwen Reed, thank you. She's watching. Well, we got to go now, though, Gwen. It's time. It's home time. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to the Freeman Bosley Jr. Show on KAT 1600. Hallelujah AM. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being a friend. Talk to you later. Quit playing.
All right.
All right. Good.
Radio, we're good. We're still on Facebook and YouTube.
So everybody on Facebook, again, we want to thank you all for tuning in.
Mm-hmm.
It's our pleasure. If you're watching us on Facebook, you're seeing it live, but don't forget you can tune in on the radio Saturday morning.
Saturday morning.
1600. Gospel
8 a.m. to
1600.
10 a.m. That's right.
Every Saturday morning.
That's right. We got 3 or 4 different venues for you now. You can get us on the radio. You can get us on Facebook. You can get us on
YouTube.
And then you also, Danny has a Facebook page. I have a Facebook page. Anthony Shaheed has a Facebook page. Sister Felicia Hampton has a Facebook page.
Kevin's got a
Facebook page. We got 5 different ways to catch this thing. And so eventually all of this stuff is going to come together. And when it comes together, it's going to be like a mountain moving and growing as it grows up out the ground.
Kind of like this set behind us.
Absolutely.
See, you all are seeing the arch. When we look at this, we're seeing a big green wall here.
That's right.
But through the magic of television and through the assistance of Mr. Bombay Boski
and Danny Brown,
well, we work together.
And Anthony Shaheed
there
and his nephew.
We are getting stronger every week.
Stronger every week.
As you can see, if you tuned in 3 weeks ago, it didn't look like this.
Didn't look like this. Didn't sound like
Didn't sound like this. If you tuned in 2 weeks ago, it looked a little closer,
That's
but
right.
not quite this.
Right.
So we guarantee you, if you tune in next week, it's going to be even better.
That's right. All right now. Thank you. Appreciate you.
We are clear on Facebook, and let me put us on YouTube. And that is a wrap.
All right.
Fellas, good show.
That was a good show.